a beautiful Humbrew's picture here that has a bunch of questions written on little cards that kids wrote, elementary school kids. So we're going to hand them out to the band. They'll pick one question each.
Raising money for music in schools today, so this is actually a pretty appropriate activity.
Okay, so mine is, what is your motto? And the first thing that came to mind, I don't know if you've seen Spinal Tap. This is not my motto, but the first thing that came to my mind is Bib Savage, the keyboardist, when he says, "Have a good time all the time," which is a good one, right? But I think my motto, I try to remind myself of this a lot, is to live in love, and not meaning like to be in love with someone, but to live your life like with love in everything you do, because I think at the end of the day, you can have regrets. You know, if something doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to, and you did it like from your heart because with love, as the backbone of it, then you got really nothing to regret, because you're acting from a place of love. So.
Lost the plot, but we found it again. It's a mirror in which we all blend. Shades of darkness into shades of light. Open spaces with no end in sight. Carry me back, carry me back, carry me home. I love you so much, I want you to know. Carry me back, carry me back, carry me home. We were born to live in between tension and release.
Yeah, I got a really hard question, I think. I'll ask the question. What do you think everyone should know? I was thinking about it, and like, well, this is just a general thought, but like, life is precious and time is precious and it moves fast, and I'm sure we all know that. And the older you get, you kind of, see it sort of unfolding. So I'd say if this was actually a kid standing in front of me, I would just tell him or her to, just really appreciate life, appreciate your family, and try to be cool. Try to be just cool about things, and not stress too hard.
What was the hardest moment of your life, and how did you overcome it? I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she was born, when I was 23. I was like fresh out of college, and it was hard at first. I mean, it was just like, I wanted to be a musician, like suddenly I had this kid, and I wanted to be a good dad, and I kind of had the whole like, oh, maybe I can't be a musician and a dad kind of thing going on in my head, but I still kept doing music, and I was like teaching and kind of, but I really wanted to like be out with the band, and these guys kind of, we all had our little dream band, and they kind of saw like I was like pretty busy with having a kid and everything, and maybe we should go do some other stuff. So they were kind of out touring, and I remember I was just like, we got to tour, and so I convinced my girlfriend, and we got married right around that time, so she became my wife. leave our house in Marin, and we were going to buy an RV. And so we took all our savings and we bought a motorhome, and we were going to tour with the band, you know. And everybody was like, wow, okay, you know, we had this 2-year-old daughter by that time. It was like, we're going to go out there and do it. And we had this plan, and we called it Operation Hummingbird in this nebulous time. And we were just kind of like, we're just going to go out and do it. We'll just buy the RV, and we'll just book the shows, and we'll send the demo, and we'll just do it. You know, we were going to kind of grab life by the balls, or whatever you want to say, you know, got out there, and it proved to be much harder than I thought. And the RV broke down all the time, and my wife was just like, what are we doing? And the gigs were like hard. The word is like, you know, like 4 people, and you know, and 2 of them are your relatives, and you know, it just was hard, and you know, it was hard. We were all, you know, sleeping on floors, but it was with a baby, you know, a 2-year-old baby, so it was just crazy. And I remember getting in a fight after a show, and I, you know, not like a fist fight, but just an argument or something. And Dan was like, use loving words. And I remember, like, at that moment, I just like totally lost it. And I think back to our drummer was this guy Adam, and he was a great guy, and I was just kind of like losing. I was just losing it. I was like at the max of what I could handle, I think, you know. And Adam was like, he's like, I used to see you guys play, and I thought you were so cool. Now you're just a dick. And I was like, and then I got infuriated, you know. I was like, maybe the maddest I've ever been, you know, because I've never been in like an actual physical fight. So it's like, you know, sports or something. But so I wanted to fight him, and Dan was like, use loving words. And so that was maybe my darkest moment. And everything got a lot better after that. And so how did I overcome it? I just like hung in there.
Mine is a life-changing moment or event. And in college, I sort of did 2 things in college. I played in rock bands, like this one. We all went to the same college. And then I also played in symphony orchestras, and I was in the symphonic world. I played in classical music, classical percussion. You know, I like the classical percussion, but playing rock shows at like parties was really fun. But I had a great percussion teacher who was sort of trying to groom me to be a good classical percussion player and go down to Los Angeles and maybe, you know, be his little protege. So he got me into this music academy in Santa Barbara called Music Academy of the West, and it's actually really hard to get into, and it costs a lot of money, and he just got me into it for free. So I was going to rehearsals and everything and playing in the orchestra. And then one weekend I was going to go out of town. So I told the guys in the percussion section, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be here on Friday. You know, I'm just playing triangle or whatever. It was not a big deal. Cover for me or whatever. They're like, yeah, sure. Well, the percussionist who ran the percussion section at that Music Academy of the West was my teacher's teacher. And he was, I mean, he was high up in the LA Philharmonic. He was the percussion guy in Los Angeles. So the one day I decide not to go to rehearsal is the one day he decides to show up and see how everything's going. I get this call, and I won't say his name, but anyway, he's like, this is, you know, so-and-so. Where were you on Friday? I hadn't talked to him at all before this. He's like, where were you on Friday? I was like, well, you know, I went out of town with my girlfriend. He's like, well, you know, you should have been there. I said, well, I told the guys, you know, I wasn't going to be there. He's like, well, you don't tell them, you tell me, you know. And just up to that point, all the musicians that had played in the classical world, I just thought were so kind of uptight. And they're playing like some of the most amazing music ever written. And it just seemed like such a chore to them, you know. So this was just the icing on the cake. He's like, I was like, wow, I'm really sorry. And he says, well, I just don't think I could ever recommend you for anything. Anyway, at that moment, I was just like, you know what? I think I'm just going to play rock and roll. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming.